Very much, Prof. And this is a topic that I really enjoy because of what we also do in Parliament. And especially I want to commend Tom for the very good presentation and choosing a very good topic. It is important because it is one of the single-most area that poses a threat to our economy holistically, and especially because of our debt level currently, which is going to 12 trillion Kenya shillings. And I'm just making this brief comment before I go to the questions. And what I have seen over time is that actually the unsustainability of our debt, which is currently categorized as high risk of distress by many institutions, is that it has actually taken over our policies, starting with the monetary policy. Many times when we see the CBR rate going down, we also see, for example, a contraction in private sector lending, meaning when there is a drop in the CBR rate, it is basically for debt management in terms of the cost of borrowing locally. Secondly, it has taken over our fiscal policy. That's why we see most of the additionals in terms of taxes. The urgency is more basically because of raising enough resources for from taxes to pay debt. And also, when you look at the exchange rate, and I am very happy, Prof, because I'm doing almost a similar project in Kenyatta University, where I'm doing almost a similar topic, because I'm doing also, I'm working on some project there. And if you look at currently the news in this week, where we saw a drawdown of our reserve, currency reserve of 65 billion, it comes at the same time that we have seen some monies that the Kenya was expecting from World Bank and IMF has not materialized, basically reinforcing how unsustainability of our debt has taken over our key policy instruments, because most of what we are doing now is geared towards that. And lastly, in terms of comments, I was watching the other day the World Bank boss in Kenya in our local station, saying that Kenya is in a very high risk, and he quoted a figure of 33% in terms of the amount of money we are spending from revenue to pay our interest rate. And he said we are in a very, very bad situation. Fortunately, the figure he was quoting is actually not very correct, of that 3%, because the amount of money we are spending in terms of revenue to pay interest rate is actually 47%. And I was wondering if we had the right figure, which adjectives he would describe the situation in our economy when it comes to debt. So my question, maybe my input to Tom, is to also try to look at between deficit and accumulation of debt, what actually comes first. That's one. Number two, he can try to look at what is the effect of exchange rate misalignment in Kenya when it comes to our accumulation of debt portfolio. And lastly, we have seen some new terms now in terms of borrowing in Kenya, where the sovereign is borrowing off the book with names like securitization, and for example, board that is hedging on some collections of government revenue. Maybe he can look at those in terms of what is the effect in the overall debt, because the crisis we saw in Ghana, and especially Zambia, was based on such kind of experimentations. Thank you very much, Prof.